John the diver kept running into a shark as he dove. He was scared at first, but then he understood that the shark was trying very hard to tell him something. The shark's subsequent actions are astounding. Welcome to USA Stories channel. Do not forget to subscribe and activate the bell button to receive all new updates. Now let's go to the story. From an early age, John had a deep affinity for animals, and he also took pleasure in going to aquariums. His love of swimming and his skill at it earned him the nickname Fish from everyone. But when he reached 8, he developed an intense dread of water known as aquaphobia. It all began when he and his parents visited a park. He slipped away when no one was looking and jumped into the adult pool. Up until he entered the deep end of the pool, everything was enjoyable. Thankfully, his parents saw what was happening and intervened before things got out of control. Being an expert diver, his father dove into the sea to save him. However, John has been terrified of the seas ever since that terrifying experience. Fortunately, he didn't remain terrified indefinitely. Else, who knows what would have happened to the shark in the tail? Before John was able to overcome his phobia of water, it took him over 10 years. It all began when he began dating Claire, a fantastic diver, as his girlfriend. John was able to overcome his fear thanks to this lovely woman, and when he set foot in the water once more, he had no idea that the bravery he had shown in facing his anxieties would one day lead him to an amazing experience. After switching from swimming to diving, John would frequently visit Emerald Charters in Jupiter, Florida, with his girlfriend and a friend named Chris. He became so accustomed to diving that he would frequently take 3 dives daily. In 2017, John went diving as usual off the coast of Jupiter, Florida, but he wasn't alone. He went with his friend Chris, a photographer. At first, my friend was reluctant to go into the water because he was having a bad day, but I told him there is magic in water, and there's a chance he could emerge feeling refreshed, I said. Well, that's how it turned out, as Chris managed to capture something incredibly fascinating in a matter of minutes. The two pals got into the water and put on their water gear, eager to explore. Up until John observed a lemon shark swimming toward him, everything was going according to plan. Although this behavior is typical of sharks, there was something strange about this one. It appeared as though it was trying to communicate with John by staring right into his eyes. John had never encountered a shark problem before he started scuba diving. Contrary to common opinion, sharks pose little harm to humans, and despite their terrifying reputation, they only bite people when they feel threatened. John was therefore perplexed. Was the shark assuming that John intended to hurt it? The shark then swam off after running into John. It turned around and ran into John again a few seconds later. It would come into contact with me a little bit more each time it passed by. Though they don't run into us very often, they always run into us. John had a feeling that something wasn't right at that point, but he wasn't sure what it was until the lemon shark started to regularly bump into me and would always lift its head to reveal its stomach. It was quite intimidating, John said. John was terrified by the shark's enormous size and close proximity, but he also felt he was secure. He so approached the shark up close to better understand what it was attempting to convey to him. Subsequently, it was discovered that John's hunch was correct. The shark was certainly experiencing excruciating agony. When John raised the shark and noticed a little black dot on its tummy, he had a few different ideas. Was there a parasite present? Was it a malevolent growth of some kind? Well, to be sure, he swiped at it and he felt something firm. At first, John flinched, and then when he looked at it closely again, he realized it was a hook. He didn't think it was anything too bad at first, but when he took a second look, he was astonished. John wasted no time in reaching for the hook and attempting to remove it. However, the shark swam off as soon as he touched it, clearly wounded by the action. John was prepared even though he knew the rescue would not be simple. The shark returned to John a few seconds later, and he prayed that at last it had found the bravery to unhook itself. That was untrue, though. John removed the hook halfway, and the shark took off running once again. John was astounded by the hook's length as well. I was shocked by how long it was even after I had only pulled the hook halfway. I was unable to determine how much of it was still within. All I could hope for was that the shark would have guts and come back toward me. The third time the shark swam back to John, it was ready. It was the kind of thing it definitely wanted out. As soon as I started pulling it out again, the shark was like, "Get this out of me." Finally, the large fishhook worked its way out of the shark's stomach, and John was shocked by its size. John, who is 6 foot 3 inches tall and 200 pounds, said the hook was nearly the size of his hand in addition. He thought the hook was ingested by the shark and calculated that it had been in its stomach for around a year. Whoa, to finally get that out of its stomach must have been such a relief. It makes sense why the shark kept running into John. John was thankfully patient. John didn't realize that the world ought to witness such a lovely event until he managed to remove the hook from the shark's stomach. Then he wished he had taken a picture of the lovely occasion. My heart skipped a beat when I realized that moment was captured on camera because I thought it would never come again. I would gladly watch that scene again and again. Naturally, I would want to show it to my children, just like my father used to show me photos of his amazing animal adventures when I was younger, John remarked. Fortunately, it turned out that John's acquaintance, the photographer, is skilled in his field. "I would never use the camera again if I had failed to film that scene," Chris said. John was not even aware that Chris was filming everything on camera because he had been so preoccupied with saving the lemon shark. He didn't realize Chris was there until the shark passed by. His pal looked up at him and gave him a thumbs up. I gave him a thumbs up in return, and I believe tears caused my eyes to water a little. John remarked, "I was so overjoyed that he caught the moment." The two were about to wrap things up when the shark reappeared, and Chris was prepared this time as well. This time, the shark went around John and straight up to the video camera to record whatever was going to happen. That was, John and Chris thought, the shark's way of expressing thank you. It was free at last and it swam away. The shark was observed by the two friends until it was no longer visible. John described the incredible occasion as a crazy opportunity, an experience to be a part of. It gave John a sense of satisfaction and achievement. It is really amazing what he and his companion experienced. You would concur with me that it is indeed a remarkable and unusual event to be able to go that near to a wounded animal without getting hurt. The shark is now free to swim around without any pain or discomfort, all thanks to John. Following their departure from the water, John and Chris shared their experience with the crew, which subsequently went viral. John was happy to learn that several news outlets had picked up the story. He thinks it's a means of refuting the false narrative that exists regarding sharks. "I'm glad the article made it public. Great for sharks, that is." He told ABC News that sharks are cool and they're not man-eaters. "It is my aim that the narrative may correct any misconceptions you may have regarding sharks. I'll see you in the upcoming video." Please remember to subscribe to our channel, give us a thumbs up, and turn on the notification bell so you won't miss any of our videos. If you enjoyed the tale, the next video that plays on your screen will probably move you too.